This review is made possible by Toyota of Naperville. Toyota of Naperville is the largest Toyota dealer in Illinois with hundreds of new and used vehicles in their inventory. Visit www.toyotaofnaperville.com or in person at 1488 West Ogden Avenue in Naperville, Illinois. Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2019 Toyota RAV4. Up front is a 2.5 liter inline 4 and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. If you want to read more of my thoughts, head on over to carmarshal.com/overdrive where I'll be writing a complete article about the 2019 RAV4. But let's get back to that 2.5 liter inline 4. Now I was a little hesitant when I was told that it was a 2.5 liter inline 4 because it's the only engine offered in the new RAV4, and I was worried because there wasn't any V6 option. I was like, well, what if I want a bigger motor? And honestly, driving it, I don't need a bigger motor. Honestly, the vehicle isn't that heavy, and 2.5 liters is a pretty hefty amount. Now, as it said at the beginning of the video, Toyota has allowed me to do this review, which thank you so much, Toyota. I'll talk more about that in a second. But I am on their test track. So they have given me a pass on their test track. We're going to put it into sport mode, which we'll talk about in a little bit. All right, so I'm just going to put my foot flat down. This is a closed course. Not bad. You can hear the new car plastic crinkling in the background, but like I said, it's not going to blow the doors off of a Lamborghini. But what it will do is get out of its own way. It'll get you to pass people in traffic, and it won't feel sluggish. And that's the biggest thing, is that it doesn't feel underpowered. It doesn't leave me wanting more power, It's a good amount of power, and we'll leave it at that. Now, paired to it is an 8-speed automatic transmission. I had my hesitations about that too. 8 speeds, 8 gears. It must shift all the time. I drove an 8-speed a long time ago, and it wanted to shift every single second. If I put my foot into it a little bit, it would shift. If I let off, it would shift twice, up, down, up, down, up, down, all day. And it got annoying, and it kind of ruined the car for me. That's not the case with the 8-speed. It's actually pretty comfortable. It feels normal, which I think there's a lot to say, honestly, about feeling normal. Now, last thing about the drivetrain before we talk about the interior is that this model is all-wheel drive. Now, you can get front-wheel drive RAV4s. They're going to cost a little bit less, but this is the all-wheel drive option, and we will talk about that, is that you get a lot of extra features when it comes to all-wheel drive. But we'll talk about that with the interior. So, let's talk about it. In front of me, I have 2 big gauges. On the left is my tachometer, on the right is my speedometer. I really, really like that you actually get a tach. I know it's not a manual car. I know probably 99% of automatic drivers don't look at the tachometer. They don't care about engine speed. They don't care about RPMs. But for me, I like knowing what my car is doing. If something's weird or something's going on or the car is sounding weird, I like being able to look down and I can see, RPMs are steady, so it's not something with the engine. I just like having that comfort. Then in the middle, you get a screen that'll tell you a bunch of different things. It'll tell you warnings, it'll tell you your speed in digits, which is super helpful, your economy, and anything you want to know, you can cycle through on that little middle screen. That can be done on the steering wheel. To the left of the steering wheel, you have your options for the center screen, you have your volume options for the radio, and on the right, you have parking sensors, lane departure assist, which it'll warn you if you're going over the lines or whatnot. Maybe if you're not paying attention or something like that, it'll warn you. You can skip tracks, cruise control, and all that stuff is on the right. It's not a cluttered steering wheel. And I think that's because the buttons don't have any color, which I think is a big deal. There's some steering wheels that have the entire rainbow on them, and I think it looks not only tacky, but it's just cluttered because your eye is drawn to different things at different times, and it's not a good look. To the right is the center screen, and the center screen is not only touch screen, but it's very, very big in size. I really, really like that. This is where you're going to control your audio, your GPS, as well as you can get other apps. On here, I'm looking at Yelp, iHeartRadio, and other stuff like that. The last thing I'll say about the radio is that it has 2 knobs for tuning and for volume. I love these knobs. They have sort of a rubber outside on them. Feel great, look great, give that tactile response. I feel like that's going away, is that, all these knobs and stuff, you don't feel anything And so this encourages you to keep your eyes on the road. You know where it's going to be. You can feel it going up and down. And that's important to me, honestly. Down below that, you have your heating and air conditioning controls. Nothing crazy there, except there is a button for eco heat and cold, which is interesting. I've never seen a car with an eco setting for the air conditioning, but the RAV4, the 2019 RAV4 has that. Then you have your traction control off button, and then you have the shifter. So shifter, like normal, you can plus minus if you'd like. If you'd like to engine brake or keep it in a specific gear, you can definitely do that. You have your parking brake and parking brake hold button. So when you hit the hold button and you're at a stoplight, you press the gas a little extra hard and it'll hold your car, and then to release, you just get on the gas and you go. This is super helpful in traffic because you don't have to hold your foot there for hours and hours and hours when you're sitting at a light. And you don't have to put it into park. The car knows what you're doing, and as soon as you start hitting the gas, it releases. It doesn't feel restrained in the brakes or something. It feels good. But next to the shifter, you have 6 buttons for 6 different drive modes. So the top 3 are eco. You're going to get better gas mileage. It's going to do what it needs to do to really push that MPG. Then you have normal. Nothing crazy there. And then you have sport mode, which is going to shorten up your shifts, shift quicker, stuff like that. Then down below that, you have 3 really interesting buttons. Snow on and off. So you can toggle snow. So say you're in sport mode, you can also have it in snow, or eco and snow. It's an additional mode. It's not its own mode, if that makes sense. Then you have mud and sand and rock and dirt. Now the mud, sand, rock, and dirt, that will control the all-wheel drive in a different way. It has something called torque vectoring all-wheel drive, where it can send power to whatever wheel that needs it, rather than just all 4 wheels spinning at the same time. You know, if it feels one wheel losing grip, it'll send more power there, or vice versa, whatever it needs to do. So it's a really smart all-wheel drive system. It's not just you're either in all-wheel drive or not. And I want to talk about that more in a little bit, but let's finish up the interior. Besides that, I have 2 little cup holders, nice leather seats, and of course it is a 4-seater, well really 5-seater, and we'll do a back seat review. All right, so I am in the back of the 2019 RAV4, and honestly, I am surprised about the amount of legroom. I did not move the seat, and I can fully move my knees. The seats seem to be somewhat reclined, but not so it feels like I'm laying down. Just, it feels a lot more of a relaxed sort of feel, which is nice. Definitely a big advantage of SUVs like this is the headroom. I can, you know, I'm 5'10", 5'11", and I can fit a full fist above me, almost 2. So room is not an issue. Besides that, I have 2 USB chargers back here, which is helpful. It's just USBs. You don't have to deal with cigarette lighters, those big dongle things. But other than that, I really don't get much else back here. 1-touch windows, though, up and down. And I guess I do get a light. But other than that, pretty basic back seats, but really nice back seats. They are covered in the same leather. Get 2 cup holders in here, but nothing else like that. But yeah, definitely I would say the biggest advantage of the back seat is that headroom over a sedan. So overall, the interior feels really quality, and I think that's a big draw for the RAV4, is that it feels more expensive than it is. Depending on how you spec it, these things could go from mid 20,000s to upper 30,000s, depending on what you want in your car. You can go on Toyota.com, you can build your own and price it out and all that stuff. But even at its most expensive, it feels nicer than it is. And I think that is huge, because not everyone has the money to spend on a vehicle. But I think everyone in the world deserves to feel important, to feel nice, to have a quality vehicle. And so this feels very quality. It feels like it punches above its weight class, you know, and I really appreciate that. So getting back to that off-roading button, that's what I also really like about the 2019 RAV4. Now, this is a completely redesigned RAV4. It's not even the same chassis as the 2018, which is really nice, because some auto manufacturers are like the all-new blankety blank, and it's like, oh, you changed the headlights and you added a different engine option. Like, that's not all new. No, this is all new. And I think Toyota's really gone for a more sporty, more capable sort of demographic for the RAV4. I mean, RAV4s in the past did not have off-roading options. The cool thing about that all-wheel drive, as I'm driving over rocks right now, is that it'll actually tell me how much power each wheel is getting. So right now, all 4 wheels are getting 3 bars of power. Oh, fronts only have 2. I love test tracks. And going along with that, I have to talk about the looks because I really, really like the way this thing looks. At first, I wasn't sold on the whole angular, angry sort of look. It really works. I do think that this is a good-looking car. I wish that there were more color options from the factory. There's not a whole lot of color options for the RAV4, so I do wish that there were more colors. But that being said, I think it's a good-looking car. I think it looks better than the previous generation. And honestly, this might be the best-looking RAV4 yet. One more thing before we end out the video is I'm going to talk about this probably in a lot of my 2019 reviews, is that the market's changing. I mean, I'm filming this in December of 2018, and it's very clear that the market is going towards these crossover SUVs sort of thing. Now, the market's always changed, and maybe in 20 years we'll be back to only loving sedans, but right now, these are kind of the hot topic. And honestly, I understand why now. They're comfortable. You have that ride height, and I think the biggest thing is that now you can also get them with an economical engine, and it has the power that it needs. It's not lacking power at all. So really, you can kind of get the best of both worlds with these crossover SUVs. You have headroom in the back for your passengers, which is huge. Overall, it's just a really, really complete package. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video as much as I have enjoyed driving the 2019 RAV4. Again, I want to thank Toyota of Naperville for allowing me to do this review. I don't want you guys to think that anything that I said in this video was skewed by the fact that Toyota lent me their car. I will stand by everything that I said. And like I said, I wish that it came in more colors, and I wish that it had heated seats. But besides that, I really don't have any complaints about the 2019 RAV4. I think it looks great. But thank you again to Toyota of Naperville. I will put their information down in the description below, as well as I'll be putting it on the screen. If you guys are looking for Toyotas in the Illinois area or anywhere else, honestly, give them a call. They will help you out. I offered up to do this review, and they were super enthusiastic about it, super helpful. They said, when can you do it? Let's get this going. They're very proactive, and I think that's very important in a dealership. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys. There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight.